China Evergrande's Xu Jiayin gets life sentence for financial crimes. CK Hutchison seeks $11.7 billion from Panama in canal ports takeover. And canine killer dog's owner bailed after the first court date. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Evergrande founder Xu Jiayin has been sentenced to life in prison after he was found guilty of several charges, including fundraising fraud. Mainland authorities have confiscated all his personal assets. This as China Evergrande Group and Hengda Real Estate have been fined a collective 15.8 billion yuan. Timothy Lee has more.
67-year-old Evergrande founder Xu Jiayin received a sentence earlier today at a Shenzhen court. The case found Xu as the key authority figure in China Evergrande Group and Hengda Real Estate, having committed a number of offenses such as illegally taking public deposits, illegally extending loans, and large-scale fraud between 2016 and 2021. Xu and Evergrande also engaged in bribery to acquire control over financial institutions, as well as illegally securing credit and insurance funds. The court said Xu, Evergrande Group, and Hengda Real Estate's actions severely damaged the nation's economic order and violated both public and private property rights. Owing to the extent of damage and number of victims involved in the case, mainland judicial authorities emphasized a harsher sentence will be passed according to the law. The court sentenced Xu to life in prison, with all personal assets to be confiscated by the government. Evergrande Group was fined 8.82 billion yuan, while Hengda Real Estate was fined 7 billion yuan. Born in Henan province, Xu worked at a steel factory after graduating from university before founding Evergrande in 1996. Evergrande was first listed in Hong Kong in 2009, with the company's market value surpassing 400 billion yuan in 2017. At the peak of his career, Xu had a net worth of 290 billion yuan, becoming one of the richest men in the country. In 2020, Evergrande became the nation's top real estate company, but subsequently declined in the following years as a result of central authorities' policies on tightening real estate investment. Xu was later arrested in 2023 on suspicion of debt-related crimes. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
CK Hutchison says it has launched international arbitration proceedings against Panamanian government's takeover of 2 canal ports and seeks more than $1.5 billion in damages following destruction of port investments. This after its local subsidiary Panama Ports Company demanded $2 billion of compensation from the Central American nation. CK Hutchison says the 2 demands are to be handled separately. The legal escalation in treaty dispute arbitration marks a breakdown between Panama and the Hong Kong-based conglomerate. In a statement issued on Thursday, CK Hutchison accuses Panama of violating a bilateral investment protection treaty through sovereign acts that targeted a decades-old port concession in a state attack campaign on the company assets. The issue became a part of U.S.-China tensions since Donald Trump returned to the White House and alleged China was running the Panama Canal. The spat reached a boiling point this February when Panama's Supreme Court annulled a 25-year contract held by Panama Ports Company, after which authorities seized the Balboa and Cristobal port terminals at each end of the canal. CK Hutchison hit back on February 4th by filing an investment treaty dispute notice with Panama to seek resolutions, but to no avail. It was only over 6 months later that Panama convened negotiations on the matter without bringing forward any plans for compensation or solution. CK Hutchison thus launched arbitration proceedings against the nation and filed a claim for more than $1.5 billion. The facts show that Panama has now become a risky country that ignores the rule of law, corporate status, and treaty-based dispute mechanism, it says, adding the board will continue to engage with Panama to find a solution while firmly defending all their rights and compensation under treaties and international law. Earlier in March, PPC has separately sought $2 billion from Panama over its seizure of the ports, which it described as unlawful. Clarifying the 2 demands are entirely different, CK Hutchison points to Panama's failed attempts to force the group into arbitration initiated by PPC in a bid to bypass its corporate status and the scope of its concession. The group underscores it will continue to pursue a solution and permanently reserve all its rights. The owner of a dog involved in a fatal attack on smaller canines in Yunlong has been charged under the Dangerous Dogs Regulation and appeared at Two Moon Magistrates Court today. The 52-year-old defendant, Ng Shui Ting, was granted bail with the case adjourned until October. Ng appeared in court donning a black baseball cap and a face mask. He was released on bail after the hearing but did not respond to questions from reporters. Ng is the owner of a large dog named Larry, which allegedly mauled 3 dogs outside Yoho Mall in Yunlong last month and again this month, leaving 2 canines dead and 1 injured. He faces 2 charges under the Dangerous Dogs Regulation relating to allegedly failing to securely restrain a large dog on a leash in a public place. He was not required to enter a plea at this stage. The case was adjourned until October 29th. Ng was granted $3,000 cash bail and was barred from leaving Hong Kong. He is also prohibited from contacting prosecution witnesses. The dog Larry is a Spanish Mastiff and has reportedly been abandoned 3 times. It was taken in by its current owner more than a year ago and was kept with another dog at Tongxing Lei in Yunlong, where residents said the animals were allowed to roam freely around the village. Larry is currently being held at an animal management center operated by the Agriculture, Fisheries and Conservation Department while undergoing observation. The department said the owner has signed a consent form handing over custody of the dog to the AFCD. The dog will undergo a temperament assessment, which will determine how it will be dealt with. The department previously said it had not ruled out euthanizing the dog. The AFCD also said it had not ruled out bringing additional charges against the owner under the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Ordinance. The waiting time for traffic lights may soon become shorter as the Transport Department launches projects implementing artificial intelligence to enhance efficiency. These AI projects may also benefit car users who may need only 1 day to have their applications approved in the future. Andy Ziauden has more.
The Transport Department announces the use of AI in different sectors, including easy license application approval and smart traffic signals. The Easy License Application Approval uses large language model to automatically recognize, cross-check, and verify application documents. The system will launch by the end of 2026 and will be applicable for automatic approval of online vehicle license renewal and applications under the 2 cross-boundary driving schemes, northbound travel for Hong Kong vehicles and southbound travel for Guangdong vehicles. With AI, the waiting time of application approval could be cut short to 1 working day. If work done by humans, up to 10 working days were needed. Separately, from the first quarter of 2027, smart traffic signals will be placed at the junction of Gloucester Road and Great George Street near Victoria Park in Causeway Bay. Here, AI would determine the amount of car flow and pedestrians waiting for a traffic light to change color. When they sense that there is no car flow, they would automatically change to green light for pedestrians to cross.
The subject junction is at the main route, pedestrian route between Victoria Park and the Causeway Bay area. Due to its specific location, the vehicle and pedestrian flow are particularly high and varying.
The implementation of the real-time adaptive traffic signal system is expected to reduce the waiting time for green light by 15 to 20 seconds. And this is Zelden, TVB News.
4 railway workers waiting on the tracks were killed by a train in Tochigi Prefecture, Japan. Authorities are investigating the cause. The incident happened at around 10:45 a.m. local time on the Tobu Nikko line. A limited express train bound for Tokyo was slowing down as it approached Shinkanuma Station when it hit the 4 workers who were weeding the tracks. The 4 were taken to hospital unconscious and later pronounced dead. The train involved was carrying a total of 50 passengers and crew members, none of whom were injured. The passenger said when the incident occurred, the train made unusual noises and then came to an emergency stop. Due to the incident, services on the Tobu Nikko line were suspended between several stations. Welcome back. Foreign Minister Wang Yi met with South Korean President Lee Jae-myung in Seoul, expressing hope that South Korea will firmly pursue a friendly policy towards China. Wang said Lee made the right choice by bringing China-South Korea relations back onto the normal track. He also expressed hope to take the 35th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries as an opportunity to make greater progress in the strategic cooperative partnership. Lee stated he was delighted to see the improvement of South Korea-China relations. He said the two countries should become mutually dependent and beneficial partners with complementary strengths. He also said he looks forward to visiting Shenzhen in November for the 2026 APEC Economic Leaders Meeting. South Korea's defense minister estimates North Korea has between 80 and 120 nuclear warheads, citing a range significantly higher than U.S. President Donald Trump's recent assertion that Pyongyang has 57 nuclear weapons. This as the sister of the North Korean leader said that while Trump and her brother Kim Jong-un have an excellent relationship, the United States remains an enemy of Pyongyang. Tracy Furness reports.
When asked by reporters if he expected to meet with the North Korean leader later this year, the US president answered, "Yeah, I will be." And when asked if they exchanged letters,
I can't tell you that. But I get along with him. And you know what? The fact that I get along with him, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. He has 57 very powerful nuclear weapons. Should have never allowed it to happen. They should have never allowed it. If I were president, I wouldn't have allowed it. But he's got them. I get along with him very well. I can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And I know Kim Jong-un very well, and he's going to be fine. As long as we have a smart president, he's going to be fine. If we have a dumb president, then he's probably not going to be so fine.
This is Kim Yo-jong, the powerful sister of North Korea's supreme leader, said she knows nothing of the supposed communications between Trump and her brother, but said the United States' hostile policy towards the DPRK has not changed, and the United States and its followers are vigorously carrying out hostile military activities against the DPRK, even at this very moment. Her comments come as the US and South Korea joint military are holding exercises this week, and South Korean civilians, government and military held anti-terror drills on Wednesday in Seoul. South Korean Defense Minister Ahn Gyu-bak told lawmakers that North Korea was generally believed to have around 80 to 120 warheads, although he cautioned it was difficult to determine the exact figure. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Israel's military announced its first criminal investigations into troop conduct in the war in Gaza, focusing on the killings of 5-year-old Hind Rajab and her family and 15 Palestinian paramedics. Investigations involve killings that drew heavy international outcry. Hind was trapped in a vehicle with her slain relatives, pleading for help by phone before she was killed in February 2024. The 15 medics were killed in March 2025 after Israeli troops opened fire on an ambulance and other emergency vehicles responding to casualties in Rafah. The military said it would not launch criminal investigations into 3 other attacks that killed 8 workers from World Central Kitchen and Doctors Without Borders. It said it had completed reviews of 150 incidents involving troop conduct in Gaza and made decisions on 5 cases. A Russian missile barrage overnight Thursday has killed at least 12 people in Kyiv as explosions echoed across Ukraine's capital throughout the night, local authorities said. This as the intensifying use of drones against civilians and humanitarian workers has become a dangerous challenge for aid operations in Ukraine, the UN's humanitarian chief said. Tracy Furness has more.
A Russian missile strike hit this apartment block in Kyiv, damaging the exterior. People outside the residential block had been rescued from it. This as at least 12 people were killed in strikes across 12 locations in Kyiv, wounding around 33. The strikes also hit a medical facility and an educational institute. United Nations Under-Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator Tom Fletcher spoke about witnessing how communities are coping while living under the constant threat of Russian drones.
So it's quite chilling, and for me in particular, experiencing and hearing what it's like for those communities who are living with drones constantly. This is an area, Kherson, which is more saturated by drones right now than any other. And so I think it really gives us an insight into the dangers ahead of us. We have people going out who are clearly humanitarian organizations, and they're being hit. And so that does restrict what we can do. Now,
this is Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky thanked lawmakers Wednesday for approving Major General Yevgeny Kamara as the country's new defence minister. Lawmakers approved Kamara as the new defence minister during a parliamentary session in a move that effectively closes the door on former minister Mikhailo Fedorov's return. Meanwhile, Ukraine's strikes on Russian oil refineries, depots and other oil infrastructure led to a fuel crisis earlier in the summer, with gasoline shortages spreading across the country and authorities and gas station chains introducing restrictions on gasoline sales. The situation improved by early August, but the shortages have since returned, according to Russian media, with a long queue seen at gas stations in Moscow. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
U.S. President Donald Trump on Wednesday guides the Washington press corps for a tour across some of its latest construction projects on the historic White House South Lawn, including a massive granite helipad and the $400 million ballroom, boasting their engineering strength while dismissing concerns over escalating costs and legal challenges. Danny Zhou has more.
With sounds of construction clanging, the impromptu press briefing sees Trump introducing granite pieces from Korean, California, being laid on what used to be an asphalt driveway, which he asserts is not appropriate for the White House. Trump claims the circular helipad donated by helicopter manufacturer Sikorsky is necessary because exhaust from new helicopters used to scorch the grass.
The helipad, I think you'll be very excited to see, is really something very, very special. Come on over here. This is a path leading with the same exact granite, very strong granite. It will never break, it will never leak, it will never do anything. This is the highest quality stone you can get.
The Republican president goes on to boast that the pristine granite slabs are rated a million-year plus that could withstand pressure of 3,500 pounds per square inch. The seal of the United States of America is carved into the stone in large letters. Trump tells reporters, "This will be here long after we're gone, no matter what happens with the world. This is not moving." The chopper landing area is designed to accommodate the weight of the latest Marine One fleet. Trump admits that the helipad is near completion after he ordered to delay ongoing work to ensure it could be regraded to lay flatter ahead of a September state visit by President Xi Jinping.
This is going to look incredible from the air and from every place. And again, this is going to be used for a lot of different celebrations, a lot of different big meetings where, as an example, President Xi is coming in a little while, a couple of weeks. And we didn't plan to have this done, but it's gone so well.
As the tour comes to a close, Trump signs his name on the back of an eagle emblazoned marble stone destined to be embedded into the foundation, chuckling he does not know if anyone is ever going to see the signature again. Behind the scenes, the renovation of the landmark grounds has not come without controversy. The administration was locked in lawsuit against the construction of the ballroom without congressional approval and has unsuccessfully sought to secure funding from Congress to add military improvements to its structure. But Trump says work is continuing regardless, and part of the complex will be 5 stories deep underground. He states, "This will be the greatest military complex / ballroom anywhere in the world." Danny Zhou, TVB News.
British media say Prince Harry and his wife Meghan are moving back to the UK. However, they will not reclaim their former positions as working royals. Alina Wang reports.
Britain's media say Prince Harry and his wife Meghan are ready to head back to the other side of the Atlantic. According to the Daily Telegraph, Harry and Meghan's children, 7-year-old Archie and 5-year-old Lilibet, have already enrolled at British schools and are set to begin classes in September. King Charles III was alerted to the decision on Sunday and wasn't told about it during the couple's visit to the UK last month. The decision comes more than 6 years after the couple stepped away from royal duties and relocated to California to pursue lucrative media contracts. It is reported that the Sussexes have no current plans to resume their roles as working royals. The families returning to Britain will allow the king, who is currently undergoing treatment for an undisclosed type of cancer, to spend more time with his grandchildren. Alina Wang, TVB News.
The latest unemployment rate remains at 3.7%, according to the latest government figures, but certain sectors are seeing more unemployment. The Census and Statistics Department says for May to July 2026, the unemployment rate in retail and transportation sectors increased, whereas foundation and superstructure construction work saw a decrease. The total number of unemployed individuals topped 145,000, an increase of approximately 6,000 compared with the previous period, while the number of underemployed individuals also rose by around 3,800. Secretary for Labor and Welfare Chris Swin says the local economy continues to expand and is expected to support the overall labor market. The Joint University Program Submission System, or JUPAS, released its reconsideration of application results for candidates who have applied for a review of their results at the Hong Kong Diploma of Secondary Education exam. 287 students, representing 63% of the applicants, have received offers or are admitted to higher-ranked programs. That marks a year-on-year increase of around 5 percentage points. 83 candidates who failed to secure an offer in the main round are admitted to bachelor's degree programs. And that's the news. Thank you for watching.